Okay guys, so number of topics to discuss in this video. Firstly, we'll talk about Floyd versus Conor McGregor, and there's a few other stuff here and there, bits and pieces of news. So do want to include that and discuss it as a longer type video if it comes to that. So yeah, excuse my rambling, but yeah, let's get straight into it. And yeah, I just want to thank everyone for the support. It does not go unnoticed, and I really, really appreciate it. So Floyd versus Conor. Let's just say it's an even better event than it is a fight. The fight itself for me is uncompetitive. Floyd is going up against a UFC fighter who in boxing terms is 0-0. So I guess that kind of says it all. And I don't know if some of us have seen the sparring footage with Chris Van Heerden, who's a South African welterweight. Van Heerden is certainly no Mayweather, and he was catching McGregor at will, to be honest. McGregor was very, very open, and you know, it does not bode well for the notorious one going into this fight. Let's say I am a fan of MMA. I do really enjoy MMA. I don't get to watch every single fight, of course, but I do watch more than the average sort of viewer. So I have seen Conor McGregor fight on multiple occasions, and for me, he may bring some advantage into this fight. Natural height, natural probably weight advantage. But for me, in terms of just pure boxing skills, if Pacquiao's not able to lay a glove on Mayweather, then it's going to be very, very difficult for me to see Conor McGregor doing that to Floyd Mayweather. So as I said, it's an uncompetitive fight. It's definitely going to be a great event. Let's put it that way. I'm looking forward to the press conferences, the media tours, and whatnot. It will be certain to give us some entertainment. Let's put it that way. I appreciate the entertainment value here will be very, very high. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that part at the very least. I won't be buying the pay-per-view. Let's put it that way. But there may be some decent fighters on the undercard from what I hear. Badu Jack might be on the undercard, maybe facing Nathan Cleverly on that card. So that could be a barn burner of a fight at 175. Also, Gervonta Davis. I know one UFC fight. I can't remember his name at the moment, but he's called him out on Twitter, and Gervonta Davis said, "I will beat the excuse my French shit out of you." So yeah, I guess it's okay to swear. Just on a side note, it seems Ultra Tech gets away with it, so once in a while it's okay to swear. But yeah, anyway, that I digress. So yeah, there'll be some potentially good fights on the undercard. I hope. Whether or not it's worth $100 odd, you make that sort of assumption by yourselves. But for me, it's definitely more of a spectacle in terms of the main event. But yeah, if there are some good fights, I'll be whacking out on the stream and be able to watch that. So yeah, that'll be some good stuff there. Pacquiao versus Horn is now on ESPN. Bit of a not a shock, but a bit of a sidestep, I guess. I mean, I wasn't really expecting that. I know Top Rank have actually just signed a exclusive sort of deal with ESPN, so maybe that shouldn't surprise a lot of us. But I did think a name like Pacquiao would be on HBO. So I guess there is kind of a farewell tour for Manny Pacquiao. So I'm not really too surprised as to whether or not he's on ESPN or HBO. But I would have expected him to be on HBO. Let's put it that way. It's a bit of a weird one with Manny. I know he's coming onto the twilight of his career, but he's still a relatively big name. Let's put it that way in terms of the welterweight division and global boxing as well. So yeah, that's kind of that's kind of that sort of fight discussed. I don't really have anything more to say on Pacquiao versus Horn. Not a competitive fight for me. Pacquiao should, I'll be honest, he should be stopping Jeff Horn. So yeah, that's kind of my opinion on that. Adrian Broner. I saw some pad work. I don't tend to look at pad work as a sort of descriptive analysis, but he definitely looked very, very sharp on the pads. He looked, he looked very, very good on pads. So it could be a very, very good fight if he comes into shape. He looks in half decent shape. I think he's been sort of he's been in the gym ticking over after the Granadas fight. So he hopefully comes into very, very good shape. He's put an article out and saying he's got too many kids and whatnot to provide for, so he has to make weight. So let's hope he sticks by that, and let's hope he actually makes the weight very good. So we have a really, really good fight on our hands with Mikey Garcia. Do still pick Mikey Garcia in that fight, but Adrian Broner looking sharp. Haven't seen any footage of Mikey Garcia at this moment, so if anyone does have some clips, just drop it to me on my Twitter page. There are a few bits and pieces. I know Billy Joe Saunders has come out on IFL and kind of charged at Canelo and Golovkin, and Canelo's obviously come out and said, I can beat Saunders with my eyes closed and with one hand. So there's a bit of afters there. I am hearing Billy Joe Saunders versus David Lemieux might be on the same night as the Canelo versus Golovkin fight. Don't know if that's true, because I've been hearing that Billy Joe Saunders has to face a mandatory defense. So if David Lemieux is mandated by the WBO to face Billy Joe Saunders, then yeah, that's a realistic fight, and definitely a fight that he could build his profile with, especially after sort of the pullouts and the weight concern and whatnot. So yeah, I'd really, really like to see that fight. That's a close fight. I'd pick Billy Joe in that fight, but David Lemieux has serious knockout power. So there's potential there for that fight to go either way. But I'd pick Billy Joe for me. For me, my choice would be Billy Joe. There's a few other fights, I mean, in the pipeline, but nothing for me to really discuss. I don't know if I should discuss the super flyweight card that is on September 9th, but I might leave that for another video. And yeah, there's a few other stuff, maybe one or two bits. Zoiga, who beat Paul Smith, I didn't talk about that fight because I thought it was irrelevant, but he looks like he's going to be bypassing the World Boxing Super Series tournament, so we won't get him versus George Groves, even though that's an easy fight to make. And yeah, I don't think that's I don't think Zoiga's any good anyway, but yeah, there's nothing really more to say on it. Gilberto Ramirez, his team are in talks with Jesse Hart, so Jesse Hart's a prospect in America, so wouldn't be surprised to see that fight. Gilberto Ramirez really needs to get active. I know he had a fight against Max Bursak, but he needs to stay active. He's really, at the moment, kind of, he's got a lot of potential to be one of the best in the division, but he's very inactive and he's just fallen off the radar. And I do think Bob Arum needs to push him a bit harder as well. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on Gilberto Ramirez. Him versus James DeGale potentially in the next year or two would be good. Or George Groves. George Groves versus James DeGale would be a good fight. So there's the 168 division. It's not necessarily thriving, but there's definitely some good fighters out there. It's definitely got a lot better, of recent times than it has been in the last couple of years, I guess. And there's some really competitive fights out there. So I'd like to see some of the fights there, and him versus Jesse Hart would be a good fight as well. So if that comes to fruition, that would be great. If not, on to the next one. But I'd just like to see Ramirez get active. And yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on the rundown for this, for this video. As I said, I will cover the super flyweight card in a separate video. I've been asked to cover that in a separate video anyway. I'll put some initial thoughts out on that. And yeah, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Don't need to bang on about it. And yeah, take care. Peace.